Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Episode of Mindful Leadership Podcast on the Transformation Network. The podcast where we turn stress into strategy, overthinking into clarity, and overwhelm into momentum. I'm your host, Singh, the leadership coach who has spent this last 1 year watching brilliant people get their hands on the most powerful tools in human history and somehow end up more tired, not less, more tired. So pour something warm, put the phone face down where you can't see it light up, and let's spend next 28 minutes on that exact paradox. I want to open with a picture, and I want you to tell me honestly whether you have been standing inside it. A leader called Priya invites me to look at her setup. She's proud, she should be. 9 AI tools, dashboards glow, automations that fire at 6 in the morning because she's awake. A prompt library, a second brain, a third brain. Apparently, because the second one got full, she walks me through it like a pilot showing off a cockpit. Then one summarizes my meetings. This one drafts my emails. This one watches my competitors. This one talks to that one too. And when she finishes, I ask her one question, just one. Priya, what did any of it actually change? And then she opens her mouth and nothing comes out. Because the honest answer, the one she finally gives me, quietly 30 seconds later, is I don't actually know. I am definitely busier, I'm faster, but I couldn't tell you what of it changed. Busy has never looked so much like progress, and that gap between motion and meaning is the most expensive gap in business right now. Because we all just got handed the same gift, and almost nobody was taught how to hold it. And Priya is not rare. She is the median. I meet people every week paying 5, 6, 7 AI subscriptions. And when I ask them which one drove a single measurable result last month, I get the same face. The face of someone who just realized they have been collecting tools the way some of us collect gym memberships. We confuse owning the tool with getting the result. We confuse access with advantage. And the machine, bless it, it perfectly happy to let us keep confusing them for at $60 a month, $60 a month, $60 a month. So here is what I have come to believe. After little over a year of these conversations, we did not get an intelligence upgrade this year. We got a speed upgrade. And there is a world of difference between the two. See, speed is now free. It's ambient. Your competitors has it. Your intern has it. The person who has never led anything in their life has the speed. Everyone on earth just got handed a Ferrari. And what I keep noticing that almost nobody has handed is a map. So we have got millions of people driving faster than they have ever driven in every direction at once, mistaking the speed for the progress. Let me give you the number that stopped me cold. Depending on which study you read, fewer than 7% of organizations are actually ready to use AI well. 7%. And when I dug into what ready means, here's the thing, it was almost never about technology. It was always never about technology. The technology is sitting right there, cheap and willing. Readiness turned out to be clarity program wearing a technology costume. The 7% were not the ones with the best tools. They were the ones who knew what they actually trying to do before they touched and reached for the toolbox. Because when the machine can do almost anything instantly, the only thing that separates one leader from another is a very old, very human set of questions. What is worth doing? What should stay human? And what about the state of mind I am in when I decide? The leaders who can answer those don't need more tools. The leaders who cannot will drown in them faster every quarter. So today begins a brand new set of this podcast. I'm calling it the conscious operator. And over the next 10 weeks, we are going to walk straight into the most anxious room in modern leadership, the room where AI meets the actual human being trying to lead. And we are going to find the calm in it, not by using AI, but using consciously. See, a conscious operator is not leader with most tools. It is the leader who stays the human in the loop, who uses the machine for leverage and keeps the wisdom for themselves. And the whole set rests on one framework, one word. And that word, as always on this show, is the whole point, human. So stay human, because when the machine can do anything, your humanity is the whole advantage. The 5 letters, 5 moves: halt, understand, mark the line, apply lever, and never outsource yourself. Halt, understand, mark the line, apply the leverage, and never outsource your time. 5 moves that turn you from someone who is operated by the tools into someone who consciously operates them. Let me walk you through it. The way it actually reads at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning when the machine is faster than you, and the temptation is to just let machine drive. Now, before the first letter, I need to name the thing underneath all of this, because if you miss it, the framework won't land, right? So there are two ways to operate in the age of AI. And the trap is not knowing which one you are in. The first is the reactive operator. The reactive operator opens the tool first, asks the question second, and then let the machine set the pace, set the agenda, and quietly set the standard. They are fast, genuinely and impressively fast. And if you ask them what they produced this week, they will show you a mountain. And then what it was for, and that mountain gets very quiet. That was Priya. 9 tools, a mountain of output, and no map. But the second is the conscious operator. Same tools, same speed available, but the conscious operator sets the direction before they touch the accelerator. They know what's there to think about and what's the machines to handle. They come out of the week faster because of the machine, but trusted because of themselves. See, the difference between them is not talent, and it is definitely not tooling. It is 5 small moves, repeatable, middle of a loud week. And let me take you through that. And before I do, let me and before I do, let me answer the objection I can already hear some of you forming, because I've heard this. Singh, this sounds like you're telling me to slow down. My competitors are shipping at machine steep speed. I don't have time to halt and journal a little sentence to myself. Friends, I hear you. And I want you to be precise here, because this is the exact place leaders get it wrong. I'm not asking you to slow. I'm asking you to be deliberate, which is competitively different. Slow is a leader who takes 3 days to answer 2 minute question. Deliberate is the leader who takes 60 seconds to make sure the 2 minute answer is aimed at the right target. See, the conscious operator is not slow and they are not reactive. Over a quarter, they are dramatically faster because they are constantly cleaning up the confident garbage that speed without direction produces. So you're not choosing between fast and thoughtful, you're choosing between fast and aimed and fast and lost. Only one of those will compound. And you know what? So the first letter hot, and it is the move that when you skip makes every other move impossible. You cannot operate consciously at a speed of a machine that never blinks. AI has no nervous system to settle, no ego to check, no Tuesday. It is already ready to go. And its readiness is contagious, right? It puts you into its tempo until you're making human decisions at machine speed, which is exactly how you end up with nine tools and no idea what changed. See, to halt is to put a deliberate gap between the impulse and the tool. Before you open the tab, before you fire the prompt, before you let the automation run your morning, a gap just long enough for the human to catch up to the machine. Ria and I ran one experiment, and it was almost insultingly simple. For 30 days before she opened a single AI tool, she took 60 seconds, I call it operator's check, and answered the three questions to herself. What state am I in right now? What am I actually trying to produce? And what if the wisest version of me were sitting here? What would she want to reach for? 60 seconds. No tool until the sentence was done. By week two, she had turned off four of the nine tools, not because they were bad, but because she finally noticed they're answering questions she had never actually asked. By week four, she told me the strangest thing had happened. She was doing less for the first time in a year, and she could tell exactly what it changed. So, friends, practice for Edge is this: before you open your next AI tool, the very next one, today, 30 seconds, and write one line. You will never show anyone. Right now, I am blank, and what I actually want from this is blank. No line, no tool. Because a machine that has to breathe with happily talk you out of every breathing again, right? So that takes us to the next one is the letter U, to understand. So this is that decides whether the next hour is thinking or next or just very fast typing. Here is a number that haunts me. Roughly 60% of people I meet are using the most sophisticated reasoning tool ever built, the way they use a search box. Type a question, grab the first answer, move on. They bought a thinking partner and they're using it like a phone book, right? So let me show you the difference because it is the whole ball game. Two leaders, same tool, same Tuesday. The first one opens, write me a marketing plan, 4 seconds of effort, and the machine gives them exactly what that question deserves, right? A beige, confident, generic slab of nothing. The second leader spends 4 minutes first. They tell the machine who the customer actually is, what they have already tired, what they have afraid of, what will they absolutely not do. And then this is the part almost nobody does. They hand the machine its non-negotiables. Never recommend discounting, never assume a budget we don't have. If you're not sure, say so instead of inventing. Same tool, and what comes back is a sharp enough to use for your first conversation. See, the difference was never the AI. It was a human who understand the real question before they asked it. I coached a founder, Jamal, right, who was drowning in AI-generated strategy, report decks, analysis, all of it, produced in minutes, none of it landed. So I asked him what decision he was actually trying to make. He went white. And then he said, honestly, I'm trying to decide whether I still trust my own judgment. or whether I'm hoping the machine will hand me a spine. You see, that was not a strategy question. No prompt on earth was going to answer it. But the second he named the real one, the right use of the tool became obvious. And so did the part he needed to keep himself. So the practice for understanding is this: before your next real prompt, write the honest decision underneath it in one sentence, starting with the words, what I am actually trying to decide. Then and then only give the machine the context and non negotiables. The quality of your answer will never exceed the quality of a question you're brave enough to ask. Understand? Because a search box question gets you a search box answer, no matter how brilliant the machine on the other end is. Right? The third letter mark the line. And this is the letter that keeps you from handing the machine the one thing that was never its to hold. Every task in front of you has a line running through it. On one side is the work that should go to the machine: the summarizing, the drafting, the aggregating, the deduplicating, the tireless repetition that used to eat your Tuesdays. On the other side is the work that absolutely must stay human: judgment, the relationship, the values call, the moment where someone needs to know a person was actually on the other side. See, the conscious operator draws that line on purpose. Every time the reactive operator lets the machine erase it. Let it settle. The conscious operator draws that line on purpose every time, and the reactive operator lets the machine erase that line. Let me tell you about another leader, David, good man, fast operator. A key client sent an upset email, a real one, a relationship on the edge. And David, being efficient, had the machine write the email. It was technically a perfect email, empathetic sounding, well structured, grammatically flawless. He sent it in 90 seconds and felt productive. The client wrote back one line: David, did you even read what I said, or did a robot answer me? See, the machine hadn't made a mistake, David had. He had handed the machine a piece of work that lived on the human side of the line. A moment where the entire point was that a person cared enough to sit with it. The drafting could have been the machine's, but the caring had to be his. And notice, David did not need to do less with AI. He needed to draw the line before he used it, not after. The machine could have drafted a version for him to rewrite in his own voice. It could have organized his thoughts. It could have caught the three typos he always makes when he's upset. Right? All of that is machine side. The one thing it could not do was be the person the client needed to hear from. That was David's. And he gave it away without noticing it was his. Right? So the practice for N: take one task on your plate today, draw the line straight through it out loud and say, this part goes to machine, this part stays with me. If you cannot find a part that stays with you, look harder, because that is usually the part that matters. Right? So mark the line, because the fastest way to lose the trust you spent years building is to let a machine spend it for you in 90 seconds. Now, the next one is apply the leverage. I put here on purpose because I don't want you to hear the whole episode as be afraid of the machine. No, this is not the message. The message is, once you have drawn the line, use the machine boldly on its side of it. Because there is a second failure mode, right? And it is quieter than tool sprawl. It is leaders who is so conscious, so precious about doing everything themselves that they keep using supercomputer like a notepad. They halt the beautifully, they understand the question, they mark the line, and then on the machine side of the line, they timidly ask it to fix a typo. That's not conscious. That's just slow and extra steps. I coach a solopreneur, runner. An author, consultant, one person, no team. She was doing everything by hand out of kind of a pride. Once she drew the line clearly, she handed the machine everything on its side to do it. The first drafts, the research synthesis, the repurposing of one talk into 10 pieces, the admin that used to eat her days, same 40 hours, roughly 10 times the output on machine side. And here's the part she didn't expect. She got more human and less, right? She didn't expect, but she got more human because all the hours the machine gave back, she poured into the two things only she could do, the actual thinking and the actual relationship. That is the whole trade. You delegate the machine's work fully so you can invest the human's work deeply. Leverage on one side buys presence on the other side. So the practice of A, name one thing you're still doing by hand that lives entirely on the machine side of the line. And this way, hand it over completely, not half, completely. Then take time to the gifts back and spend it on one thing only you can do. Because being human, work human is wisdom, but doing machine work by hand is martyrdom with a to-do list. So the fifth one, never outsource the core. So I believe this is the one I want to carry out of here if you forgot the other four, right? There is a small non-negotiable core of your leadership that must never ever go to a machine, no matter how good it is. And that is your judgment, your values, the final call, and your purpose. The reason any of these things exist in the first place. The machine can inform all of it, but it can never own any of it. And here's the truth from the frontier that should reorganize how some of you think about your whole strategy, the names, the frameworks, the clever solutions a machine generates for you. Broadly speaking, you can't own them. You can't trademark them. Neither can anyone else, which means if your entire moat is a thing a machine can generate, you don't have a moat anymore. You have a puddle that the next person can generate too. So, what is actually yours? What is uncopyable? It is the same short list every time. Your judgment, your trust. The trust you have earned, the relationships only you are inside of, the story only you have lived, and your purpose, the specific reason you, not a machine, are the one holding the pen. Another leader, this was interesting too, Marcus. Um, he learned this hard way. He let a model make a call that a model should have never made. A decision about a person dressed up as a decision about data. The model was confident, articulate. It was wrong in the one way a machine always is wrong. It had no skin, no stake, and no soul in the outcome. Marcus had all three. And he had handed the pen to one party in the room that had never, none of them had that. And that's the machine. And here's a trap, right? Here's a trap in it. The one I want you to see clearly, right? This is interesting. The machine did not seize that decision from Marx. He offered it because the model was so fluent, so fast, so sure of itself that letting it decide felt like efficiency instead of what it actually was, an abdication. That is how the code gets outsourced. Not in one dramatic moment where you hand over judgment, but in 100 small Tuesdays where the machine's confidence is just little more convenient than you own responsibility. So, friends, guard the core on the small days, and the big days take care of themselves. So, the practice for N is this: write down your short list, the handful of things, if your leadership, that you will never outsource to your machine, no matter how convenient it becomes. Judgment, values, the final call, your purpose. Right? Keep the list somewhere. You will see it because the day machine offers to take any one of them, your hands will not feel like a threat. It will feel like a favor. That's exactly why you write the list. Right? So let me bring back to Priya because I owe you the end of the story. Nine tools, a mountain of output, no idea what any of it changed. That was where she started. We didn't add a single tool, we just ran HUMAN. She started halting. 60 seconds before she touched anything, she started understanding the real question underneath the prompt. She marked the line on every task. She applied the leverage boldly on the machine side, and she never outsourced the four things she finally named as hers. 6 months later, she told me she had cut her stack from nine tools to three. Her output didn't drop, it sharpened. And for the first time in years, when I asked her what work has changed, she didn't go quiet. She has at least a real one. Same industry, same hours, same machines humming in the background, different human at the wheel. So you don't need a better tool. You need to be a better operator of one you have already got. So now here's the thing. Every letter in human gets sharper when you actually know what you're operating from because most of you don't have a technology problem, you have a clarity problem. You don't know precisely what energizes you, what drains you, or what you were uniquely put here to do. And every never outsourced list is just guessing is nicer clothes until you can name your own purpose with precision. That's why I want you to take the purpose fact assessment. It's a free 25-minute science-backed diagnostic that shows you three things: what truly drives you, what consistently drains you, and the blind spots your team feels but you don't see. Once you have that, the whole framework changes because you're no longer operating from the fog, you're operating from your own core. The one thing no machine will ever generate. So, awesome leaders, this is the new era. Won't be the ones with the most tools. They will be the ones. The great leaders in this era will be the ones who stayed human at the wheel, who used the machine for everything it is good at and kept for themselves the handful of things machine should never do. So this week, halt before you click, understand the real question, mark the line, apply the leverage, and never ever outsource the core. If this landed, share it with one leader who's drowning in tools and starving for clarity. And take the purpose fact assessment, your next step in this show notes. Thank you for spending time with me. Keep breathing, keep leading like a human. I'm Singh, and you're listening to Mindful Leadership Transforming Life on the Transformation Network. I will see you next week. Let's begin.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.